Hey guys, it's Miss Silva again. We're going to be doing lesson 1.5, discrete domain and range. All right, for our learning target, we're going to say we can write the domain and range of discrete graphs. I can distinguish between domain and range. I can write domain in set notation, and I can write range in set notation. This might look familiar from your freshman year or from Algebra 1. So let's go ahead and review domain and range. Domain is the set of all input values, or more commonly known as the x-coordinates of the relation. So when we're looking at the domain, we're just concentrating on the x's. Now for range, we have the set of all output values, or the y-coordinates, of a relation or a function. So we're just looking at the y values. All right, so for these next two lessons, we're going to be looking at discrete and continuous relations or functions. Now for discrete, in order for us to distinguish what a discrete and a continuous function or relation is, a function or relation has discrete domain and range if its values are not connected. So if we look at these examples, notice how our points are not connected to each other. That's a big hint that we have a discrete graph. So now it takes us to continuous. A function or relation has continuous domain and range if its values are connected. So for it to be continuous, notice how none of these points are separated from each other. They're all continuous, which means they're all connected. All right, so for this lesson, we're going to concentrate on discrete. Now, when we're talking about discrete, we write discrete domain and range in set notation. The biggest thing about set notation is that because it's a set, we use brackets. Let's look at discrete. We're going to be looking at all the x values of these points, which means this point right here, if we were to just concentrate on the x value, the x value would be -5. Now, when you write domain and range, we start with our bracket. We always want to start with the lowest x value first, which is -5. We're basically starting from left to and then going right. Next point is here, and the x value is at -1. My next point going from left to right is this one, and it has an x value of +1. This point here has an x value of 2. This point has an x value of 3. These 2 points, notice how they both have an x value of 4. We're not going to write it twice when we're doing domain and range. We only write each number once. And then this point has an x value of 5. So the x value included in this relation graph are -5, 1, 2, 4, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now let's look at the y values of these points. Now for the y values, we're just going to be looking at the y-axis, obviously. Now when we're looking at the y values, we want to also go from lowest to highest. So we're going to start at the bottom because the bottom is where all our negatives are. So we're going to look at this point. This one has a y value of -1. Let's not forget those brackets. This point has a y value of, it looks like about -0.9. Then the next point here, we have a y value of 1. Then my next point is here. The y value is approximately 3.8. Then we have this point and this point. They both have a y value of 4. This point here has a y value of 5. And then this point here has a y value of. So the y values that are included in this relation graph are -1, -0.9, 1, 3.8, 4, 5, and 9. Let's go on to a different type of representation, which is my set of ordered pairs. Same thing with my domain. We're just going to be looking at our x values. Notice how these are not in order. And it's, like I said, good math practice to write them in order from least to greatest. So the smallest x value we have is -3. The next x value is 0, then 2, then 3. So the domain for this relation is -3, 0, 2, and 3. Now let's look at our y values for our range. We've got 2, 4, -2, and 4 again. So we start with my brackets. I'm going to look at the smallest y value first, -2. The next one is at 2. And then notice how the 4's repeat. We only have to write it once. And then we close our bracket. So the range, the y values that are included in this relation is -2, 2, and +4. We do the same thing for tables. This one doesn't look like anything repeating. Let's go ahead and start with our x values for our domain. And all we're going to do is list them. Negative, let's start with the smallest, -11, -9, -7, -5, -3, and -1. And then for our y values, for our range, we're going to start with the smallest one. Let's open up our brackets. We've got 13, 16, 19, 22, 25, and 28. Close our brackets. And that is how you write discrete domain and range in set notation. Have fun with your assignment. I'm sure you guys will do awesome.